What's up, everyone, and welcome to Football Weekly Week 6, where we went to Pike Road versus Charles Henderson for senior night, and then Lee versus Carver. I'm Joseph Sims.
And I'm Isaiah Wilson.
And Isaiah, I think we really just like going to Pike Road. They got the lights, the turf, the action. It's a great atmosphere. It's a fun time out there.
Yeah, it's always a fun time out there when we're out there at the Pike Road Stadium. We get to watch the Patriots play. It seems like they put up 50 points per game. You know, every night they show that #1 offense in the state. And a key factor to that #1 offense was Iverson Hooks. Now, he did go down with an injury, season-ending injury, tearing his ACL and his meniscus, but we got to catch up with him before the game. I'm here with star quarterback for the Pike Road Patriots, Iverson Hooks. Iverson, last game, you tore your ACL and your meniscus during that. What can you say about that injury?
It was heartbreaking. You know, I wanted to finish the season. You know, I transferred in trying to win the state championship, but, you know, it's all part of the plan. I'm pretty sure God knows what's going to happen after this. I'm going to come back next year better, stronger, faster. So I'm just going to take it and just be here to support my team this year.
Now, you did finish the game with the torn ACL. Did you know when you tore it during, like, a certain play, how did you go about it? Because, you know, I've torn my ACL and straightened my meniscus, and to me, it just felt like a serious burn. To you, did you know when you actually tore your ACL, and what was going through your mind when that happened?
Actually, I did, because I tore my ACL my 9th grade year. So, like, I knew when I cut and I felt it, I was like, oh, man, I did it again. But, you know, I got up, I finished the game, and I was just there for the team the whole time. Like, it was all just part of the plan to just get up and finish the game. And so I did that. And so now I just have to recover and just come back again, come back better next year.
And that he did. They did finish the game, shutting out the Tallahassee Tigers 55-0. A true Patriot, Iverson Hooks.
As unfortunate as it was to lose Iverson Hooks, the hype and the excitement for the game was all still there on senior night for the Pike Road Patriots. The cheerleaders were excited, the band outplayed themselves, and the fans were, of course, ecstatic.
Yeah, the fans seem to always get into it gradually as they go. When we first started going to the games, the fans just like, we're just here to be here. But now, more fans are showing up, more participants, more support for the Pike Road Patriots, and it seems like every game we go, they find something to add to their showcase, whether it be new LED lights, a show, new stunts for the cheerleaders, or a new song the band performs. What can you say that was new about the football team, rather the football offense for the Pike Road Patriots?
Well, of course, the quarterback was new out there, and the guy that got the start was number 10, Lee Clark, taking over for Mr. Hooks, who was injured. And just like Iverson said in his interview, they were going to take a quarterback by committee approach. They were going to try a few people out. That second person was Trey Wallace, a former receiver. He played mostly receiver tonight. Lee Clark, though, did get the start. What I saw from him was a very conservative play calling throughout the night. A lot of bubble screens, a lot of screen passes, and a lot of one-play reads. Look for the deep ball. If it's there, just chuck it up. If it's not, then dump it down. And I think the nerves got to him a little bit throughout the game. Some of his deep ball passes were either a little underthrown or a little overthrown in certain situations. But it also helps when you have Blake Durham out there catching the football, because he lost a few people on a few different occasions. But Mr. Clark, of course, he fumbled the ball right before half, and of course it didn't hurt the Patriots, but it does kind of mess with your mind a little bit when you're running and you just out of nowhere lose the football. And of course the overthrows that kind of got to him a little bit.
Yeah, pulled a little Tua Tagovailoa right there. He's just running, just had the ball slip out. Luckily he didn't injure himself, but you know, like you said, it does mess with the nerves. But that's where, you know, you count on your defense.
Yeah, any defense that can help out a young quarterback or even a new quarterback is especially tremendous, especially when you have Quinshon Judkins in the backfield. That's an easy out for young Lee Clark starting here. And that offensive line, of course, outplaying themselves each and every week. But Isaiah, what did you see from that defense?
Man, from that defense, first play of the game was an interception by T.J. Tolliver. He went up and snagged that ball. Really set the tone for the Pike Road Patriots defense all game. But one play that kept on showing up on my defensive radar was Logan Shores, middle linebacker. He's playing like Luke Kuechly out there, busting through the offensive line of Charles Henderson, getting in the backfield right before the running back could even figure out what the play was, man. Also, he had a pick 6 during the game. That's another key highlight. Almost every defensive back or any defensive player wants to get. You get a pick six, you're like star of the team now, right there. You want to get the whole belt. You want to do everything. But Logan Shore, shout out to him. Great defensive play on senior night.
Yeah, Pike Road, second shutout in 2 weeks. Shut out Tallahassee and now Charles Henderson on senior night, which is a big one.
50 pieces, man.
But Isaiah, the next game we went to was a big one. Everyone was excited for it. We were excited for it. Some players might have been too excited for it. It was Lee versus Carver.
Yeah, Lee versus Carver has been talked about for weeks, and as soon as I saw it on the schedule, I'm like, oh, we have to go to this one. We showed up right in time. Halftime, Lee was down 13-0, but then
Reggie Davis,
man, Mr. 1,000 yards in 4 games. They couldn't, you can't stop him.
He brought them back, had 2 rushing touchdowns to bring them back into the game, and they even took the lead, 15-13. Mm-hmm. And then something really unfortunate happened.
Yeah.
Known as the hit amongst us. It's unfortunate what happened, but in our opinions, we do think it was a clean hit. We do think that it was a legal hit, but the player was ejected. We're not going to mention his name just, because we don't want anybody to give him any trouble or anything like that, because what transpired was a tragic on the field.
Tempers flared, and when your son or anybody that's close to you is out there playing the game, the one thing you want them to do is finish the game and finish the game safely, And unfortunately, that player that did get hit with that tackle suffered a tremendous injury. We're not sure what the injury was, but he was down for quite some time. Knees were taken, players were paying their respects, medical attention was called out, and then, things got heated.
Yeah, and what we're talking about for things getting heated, some players got into it.
Coaches got into it. And the mom and dad of the Carver player that was injured did come onto the field. The mom was a little upset, being very vocal about what was going on, screaming at some of the league coaches, even trying to go after them. Police officers did have to come onto the field, and she even broke through the police restraint and got about a 45-yard gain before she was tackled around the 35-yard line for the Carver Wolverines. But unfortunately, the game was stopped for about 30 minutes. Yeah, it was a very heated, very tense 30 minutes. We weren't sure what was going to happen or what else was next. But the players did end up coming back onto the field, had a talk with the refs. That talk really didn't do anything. It kept the game subtle for like 2 minutes, and then they were back at it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you mentioned that talk that the refs had with them right before the game started, and it did not do anything. Unsportsmanlike conduct penalties were
coming left and right.
Over and over and over. Jawan Gatson and Reggie Davis are the two people that I think really set the tone of the game.
They were setting the tone of the game. I mean, we've gotten interviews. We know them personally too. Jawan really has
He's an intelligent player.
He's an intelligent player.
And he's a hard hitter. I think Reggie Davis knows that he's a hard hitter. But
so
Jawan also knows that Reggie Davis is a hard hitter.
So they were going at it. They were trading blows. We were on the sideline. They traded some shots when they got off. I remember one play, Reggie was coming down to the sideline. I got him. And right before he was about to go into bounds, Jawan was about to hit him for a lick, but Reggie slid out of bounds. They said a few words, and I was like, okay, well, now I know how this tone is finna get. They're finna go at it. It's finna be the hardest hitter, some good Southern Alabama football is about to go down.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, though, Carver came out on top, and it all transpired after Coach Hudson for Lee called his timeout beautifully on defense, got his offense the ball with about 1:46 to go in the game, no timeouts. They need a touchdown to win it. And 4th and 6 happens, and we're talking about these big hits, and I think this is what happened. Jaquel Williams, he's missed a few passes. He's been hit all game, and of course, 4th and 6, he's going to use his feet to pick up the first down and keep the drive alive, but instead of lowering his shoulder or trying to do a juke, he sidesteps out of bounds, and they call him short of the first down. It was a big moment. The chain crew had to come on, and of course, when you see that and short a little bit, Then
Carver side
Carver
erupted.
They knew they won the game. 2 unsportsmanlike penalties were called right after that, even on the kneel downs.
Yeah, man. After that, it was an intense 2-minute drill for the Lee Generals, and it seemed like they were going to score. They had the momentum. They were making the right calls. Reggie Davis was running the ball, pushing the pigskin as many 2 or 3 yards, but those 2 or 3 yards were big gains because he was carrying Carver Wolverines left and right, whether it be on his shoulder, on his waist, he was carrying them because, you know, Reggie Davis is a heavy runner. And so, you know, we got down to that 4th and 6. Jaquel Williams, he tried to be the mobile QB savior, didn't quite get the first down, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, and we did get to catch up with the Carver head coach after the game. Coach, you come out here in the big rivalry game with Lee. What was the tension like on the field?
Early, there was a lot of trash talk on social media by both guys, but we kind of settled them down for the most part, but we knew it was going to be a chippy game, and that's exactly what it was.
So have you seen anything that's happened, like what happened on the field, and what are your comments on it?
I'm not going to make any comments on it, man. We just got to get it under control, you know, as coaches and referees and kids. You know, it's a 3-way string right here. You know, we got to get it under control, the players and the refs. So, you know, we take full responsibility for our guys and what they did, and but for the most part, it was tough watching. It was tough watching, especially when our player ended up on the stretcher. But, you know, emotions kind of didn't get the best of us, and that's what I like. We didn't get too rowdy or high on it or whatever, so I'm proud of my guys for that.
So, Coach, that last defensive stop against Lee, they were going for that last touchdown to either take the lead in the game. Mm-hmm. What can you say about your defense, how they stepped up and got that 4th down stop?
Like my wife just said, when it's all said and done, I want the defense on the field at the end of the game, and I trust my guys. I trust them. I know they can ball. I know they can play, and when they needed to make a play, they did.
Thank you, Coach, and thoughts and prayers to your wide receiver.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Hambret, for the interview and for the kind words. Isaiah, it was a really interesting week this week.
Very interesting week. One we'll definitely remember. Kind of want to say we want to have more weeks like this,
but we definitely don't.
Definitely don't. Well, minus the temper flares, the extra out of pocket stuff. You know,
yeah.
A lot of comments happened even after the game. Man,
That's
coaches
right.
were going back and forth, and I thought they were going to fight, but you know,
they didn't. They stayed composed.
We
just want to send our thoughts and prayers to the Carver wide receiver and make sure that he's okay and that he has a full recovery one day throughout the process of recovery. But that's going to wrap up our episode for Football Weekly Week 6. I'm Joseph Sims.
I'm Isaiah Wilson.
Peace.